comes to achieving success, instead of being patient and consistently putting in the work, many times we try to achieve success overnight. I had a buddy in college named Bear who was the absolute worst about this. Anytime he was trying to lose weight or get in better shape, he always tried to go from 0 to 100. And so instead of just putting in consistent work and trying to chip away at weight and getting in better shape, he would try to do it all overnight. And so he wouldn't be working out at all. And then one random day he would watch like a David Goggins video, one of these motivational guys, like, you need to get off the couch, you need to go run 20 miles. And so Bear would get all jacked up and he'd come to me and he'd be like, hey man, I'm going to start doing P90X, but not once a day. I'm going to start doing it twice a day. He was like, are you in? I was like, absolutely not. Like, that's the dumbest idea I've ever heard in my life, because I knew how it would end. It always ended the same way. He would do it for like 2 days. He'd be miserable, and then he would just quit and stop every single time. One time we were eating lunch, and I looked over, and Bear's not eating anything. He's just sitting there with us. And I'm like, hey man, why aren't you eating? He's like, well, spring break is next week, and so I really need to get in better shape. So it's nothing, a little bit of procrastination here. And he's like, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a water fast until we go for this entire week. Nothing but water. He's like, I can do it. And I'm like, man, good luck with that. And all of us sitting there like we knew what was going to happen. And so I'm not kidding you. Later that evening, I saw Bear. I was like, hey man, how's that water fast going? And he looked at me with a straight face and he was like, man, it is going great. He said, I haven't eaten anything today other than the 4 or 5 chocolate chip cookies I ate for lunch. And so anytime Bear would try to go from 0 to 100, always ended the same way. It always ended in failure. A while back, my father-in-law, Ron, decided that he was going to start working out. And so he wanted to work out with our AAU basketball coach named Kyle. But the problem was that Kyle had been lifting weights every day for years. But Ron had been a while since he had really, pumped the iron, lifted the weights. And so Ron went into the gym that day, and instead of going at his own pace, he tried to kind of keep up with Kyle, because Kyle was really getting after it. And while they were working out, Ron felt great. I mean, Ron had the same mindset that day as my buddy Bear. Like, hey, I'm going to get swole overnight. Like, I feel good. He's like, I still got it. He's in there just ripping the weights. He's feeling good in that moment. He's like, I'm going to be swole by next month at this rate. But then he goes to bed that night, and reality finally sets in, because his wife, Carolyn, wakes up, and he's not in bed. And so she goes downstairs, and she sees these pill bottles spread out on the counter. And then she sees a little sticky note beside of them that says something like this. It said like Advil 4, Tylenol 2, Aleve 3. And then she hears Ron over on the couch groaning, and she's like, Ron, what in the world is going on? Like, what? Why are you down here? What is this list? Why are pill bottles all over the counter? And Ron was like, I'm literally in the worst pain I've ever been in my entire life. He said, those pill bottles, that's all the painkillers that I've been taking, and I made that list so that you could give it to the doctors just in case I OD on painkillers. And Ron canceled work the next few days. And he said, this is my favorite part of the story. He said the main reason he canceled is because he was so sore he couldn't get his socks and shoes on. And yeah, my mother-in-law, they're sitting right here. My mother-in-law just said, that's a true story. A lot of times people come to me and it's like, was that real? I'm like, you think I get up here and just lie and just make stuff up? Half the time I water it down because it's worse than what I tell you guys. and so I know I pick on Ron, I pick on Bear, but so many of us have been there before. We have tried to just achieve success overnight. Instead of being patient and putting in the work that needs to be done, we try to achieve success overnight. And I don't know why we think that, because we know that always ends the same way. It always ends in failure. We get impatient, but it always ends the same way. But the reality is our God does not work that way, and neither does anything in the world that He has created does it work that way. 2 Peter 3 says this, but you must not forget this one thing, dear friends. A day is like 1,000 years to the Lord, and 1,000 years is like a day. This is why every story in the Bible where a follower of Jesus achieves success, it never happened overnight. It did not happen in days, weeks, or months, or even years, but most of the time it happened in decades, in centuries. It took time for God to fulfill His promise, and it took a lot of work on their part. The saying, great things take time, that is not a Bible verse, but it is a principle that is found from cover to cover in the Bible. That if you are going to do anything great in this life, if you are going to achieve any sort of success in this life, then it's not going to happen just all at once, but it is going to take time and consistency. Because successful people do consistently what other people do occasionally. Let me say that again. Successful people, they do it consistently. Other people may do it sometimes, but they won't do it consistently. Successful people do consistently what other people only do occasionally. This time of the year is when we're setting goals. We got New Year's resolutions, but research shows that only 9% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions and actually see it all the way through. And the difference between the 9% who succeed and the 91% who fail, it's one thing. It's consistency. Because the 91% who start, they started doing it, but they just didn't see it through. They weren't consistent. But the 9% who succeeded did consistently what the others just wanted to do occasionally. Anyone can occasionally eat healthy. But people, you see them on Instagram, they got six packs and muscles everywhere. They eat healthy all the time. How they do it, I don't know. I go crazy. I can do it for a little bit. I start going crazy. But they do it all the time. There's a price to be paid, and they pay the price. They do consistently what most of us just want to do occasionally. Anyone can occasionally get up really early in the morning, get up at 4 or 5 a.m. But if you just look it up, some of the most successful people in the world, typically, that's when they're getting up, but they do it consistently. Some people may do it occasionally, but they do it consistently. Anyone can occasionally take an ice bath or a cold plunge. That's the new thing. I don't know if you all have seen this. New thing is like, you got to get in a cold plunge. You got to get in freezing cold water at 4 a.m. to be successful. So anyone can occasionally take an ice bath, but psychotic people will consistently take ice baths. I'm out on that one. You lost me with the ice baths. Because successful people do consistently what other people do occasionally. We see this in the life of Noah. So Genesis chapter 6, it says this. This is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, the only blameless person living on the earth at the time. And he walked in close fellowship with God. Noah was the father of 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now God saw that the earth had become corrupt and was filled with violence. God observed all this corruption in the world, for everyone on earth was corrupt. So God said to Noah, I have decided to destroy all living creatures, for they have filled the earth with violence. Yes, I will wipe them all out along with the earth. Build a large boat from cypress wood and waterproof it with tar inside and out. Then construct decks and stalls throughout its interior. Make the boat 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. Leave an 18-inch opening below the roof all the way around the boat. Put the door on the side and build 3 decks inside the boat, lower, middle, and upper. So every year around Christmas time, my family and I go here and we see the Ark. So if you've never been here, it's called the Ark Encounter. It's only about 45 minutes away from here. It is worth the drive. It is absolutely unbelievable. Every single time that we get on the bus and we go over there, and every single time I get out and I see this in person, I'm blown away. And I'm like, how in the world did Noah build that 2,000 years ago? I'm not very handy. I could not build a birdhouse in my backyard if my life depended on it. But somehow Noah built a cruise ship in his backyard in 950 AD. And this did not happen That ark was not built in a day, a week, a month, or even a year. But it's estimated that it took Noah 50 to 75 years to build the ark. And so Noah was successful to save his family from the flood. Noah was successful to build the ark and complete the mission that God had given him. Noah was successful to fulfill God's plan and purpose for his life because Noah was consistent. He was consistent. He was consistent every day to swing a hammer. He was consistent to cut the wood. He was consistent to put in the work that needed to be done. And this was not glamorous. People did not look at what Noah was doing saying, this was not glamorous work, because real consistent hard work never is. So many times in society, we see people who rise to the top and they achieve a certain level of success, and we all look at them and we say, it's glamorous. And we say, I want that level of success. But do you really? Because what you don't see is all the consistent hours upon hours, countless days, countless weeks, countless months that they had to put in to get there. The success is glamorous, but the hard, consistent work is not. And so people were not impressed with the hard work that Noah was putting into this. In fact, they mocked him. They laughed at what he was doing until the rain started to fall. And people will do the same thing to you when you're following Jesus. They will laugh at you and mock you and talk behind your back while you are in the process. When you start coming to church, they'll say, oh, there they are. They're trying to change their life again. Oh, I'm sure it'll work this time. But while they're mocking you and laughing at you, you just keep being consistent. You just keep showing up. You just keep putting in the work. You just keep doing what God has called you to do. While they're mocking you, you just keep praying. While they're laughing at you, you just keep reading the Word of God. While they're talking behind your back, you just keep coming to church and surrounding yourself with biblical community, because I promise you this, they will laugh until they start seeing how God is blessing your life. They will laugh at you until they see the joy and the peace and the hope that you have in your heart and in your mind. They will laugh at you until they see how Jesus has radically changed and transformed your life. Give Him some praise this morning. So shortly after I gave my life to Christ and started following Him, God called me into the ministry. And when I told people that I was going into the ministry, they didn't laugh behind my back. I had a lot of people laugh in my face. And were basically like, oh, well, good luck with that. You're going into the ministry? Yeah, well, sure that'll work out. I'm sure God really has called you to that. But I didn't care about that. Could have cared less about what people thought, what people were saying, what people were talking behind my back. Didn't mean anything to me. I just kept consistently seeking after Jesus. I just kept consistently preaching God's word. I was with FCA and I'd show up to a middle